Well, it's Saturday morning, and what are we doing? Well, we're going to give you a little demonstration on how to put a second coat on some cement render. Now, the panel you can see there in the centre of the screen, it's only small. It's not even 2 square feet. So a great little piece just to give you a demonstration on how to do it from start to finish. Obviously, if you're a plasterer, this is of absolutely no interest to you whatsoever. However, we do have people who have subscribed to the channel, and indeed people who haven't subscribed but are watching this, that have never picked a trowel up in their lives and find it interesting. Right, so first of all, what have we got? Well, down here in this bucket, we've got a combination of a grit sand and a plastering sand with a little bit of brown earth paint. Now, that is the material we're going to use for putting on as a render. Now, it's mixed at a 4:1 gauge, so that is 4 of your aggregate, i.e. sand, and 1 cement. So basically, it's a standard mix. It's nothing special. It's also containing what we always use, which is a combination of a waterproofer and a plasticizer. Now, you could use hydrated lime as a plasticizer for your top coats if you didn't want a waterproofer or plasticizer chemical wise in it. Right, let's crack on with this then. Right, so we'll put the bucket there so it's not in your way. Okay, so the weapons of choice, I've got an 11-inch stainless steel Marshalltown and a little dwarf stainless steel Marshalltown. Now, we're not going to use the big trowels. I've got trowels that go up to 22 inches. We're just going to use the small one. Also got a wooden float. We've got a fork, a sponge, and of course the small float. So first procedure, as always with anything when it involves mortar, is to wet up your substrate, which I've already done. It's already been wetted up. It's always good practice. Get your trowel, just rub it over. Like so. And what's that doing is bringing all the little burrs off from your scratching tool, from your scratch coat. Right, okay. So first, we get a blob, and we put it onto the old fork, like so. And we'll start off with a little dwarf trowel. We're doing that little strip at the top there. Now this is it's got a bead on it, a plastic bead, and it's not got one on the bottom. It's only got it on the top edge there. As you can see, very similar to when I'm doing the stonework. Only it's obviously a different material. We do it finish-wise, again differently. Long swoop across like that. We go back the hook for a minute, and we just go across again. With it being a single band like that, I'm just going to use that bead at the top edge just to get me straight. So on the bottom edge, because there's no bead, I'm just going to cut it off like that. Now we'll come back to that shortly. So the next obviously is the bigger panel at the bottom. Again, load up your hawk. Now you don't want your stuff too wet, you don't want it too dry. It's a bit like Goldilocks with the old porridge. Right, so you can start at the bottom and work to the top because it's a small panel. Don't worry about how flat it is at this stage. Now, if this was lime render, we'd have put on the scratch coat probably a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be doing the top coat now for a good saturation. However, it's not, it's a cement-based render. It's gone on to what was concrete blocks. It was quite alright using a cement-based render. nose of your trowel, get some onto the nose, and push it into that top there. So I stop there in the way. So you don't need to get it too perfect at this stage. It wants to be half decent, but not perfect. Full scratch coat was done a year ago, so it's going to be dry. There's an annoying little piece at the top there. The black one, which is catching this around. Right, so I can see there's quite a big dip in it, just there. I'm just going to put a bit in that. Right, there we go. Now then, that's about as far as we go with that for the moment. As far as the trowel is concerned, I'll just pick up my bits on the bottom, put them back in the bucket and not waste any, and then just tidy up that bottom edge, like so. Right, so next we need another implement. The other implement is what we call in the trade a Darby. The Darby is just basically, it's a straight edge, but basically it's a big trowel. This one's probably a little bit long for doing this panel, but it's just to give you an idea. Because a panel on this side, you straighten it up with the trowel quite easily. But you put your Darby on, as you can see, it's probably not nice and straight now. And it's identifying any little low spots that you may have on there. Now, because I've got that there, I can't basically come up and off. Like I said, it's just to give you a rough idea of what you do if it was a bigger panel. So we've identified a couple of little low spots now. So, again, bit of stuff on the old fork. Just on the nose of the trowel again. And just work it in there, like so. Right, now, it's not quite finished yet. However, we've got to wait now for it to start to pull in. Not set, but pull in. Stiffen up would be a better word for you. Now that may take quite a while. But I'll give you a rough idea on how to get the first stage done of the job. Like I said, you don't worry about the little imperfections at this point, because you're going to attack it with the old float, and then go over it with a trowel again, and then we're going to go over it with a sponge. Right, so we'll come back to that in about an hour. Right, well, we've got to that point now where we can start straightening up and things. Using the little float, I think, on this bit. Fill that top edge there where it's not got any in it. Of course, when you go into your bead edge, you push it to the very edge of that bead, so that from the other side of the angle, it's not sort of like sticking out. You know, it needs to be flush with the edge of the bead. It's probably still a little bit too wet actually yet. This, it's you know, on a good while now. It's not exactly the hottest day of the year in St Anne's. Now this is early October, and I do believe that in the south of the country you're having a bit of a heat wave. However, the northwest, we're not, or at least on the Fylde coast we're not. It's, I mean, it's warm, don't get me wrong, but it's not, I wouldn't say it was really hot. Right, so what we've done there is we've basically straightened it up with the wooden float and the little float here. Now, rightly, it should have had a bead on the bottom of there, but I'm not right bothered about that, to be quite honest with you, because there's a good chance at some point I'll be gluing stone to the front of these, because I'm going to put stone on the top. But I've had to do something with it because it has been stored waiting to be done for over a year now. And, you can imagine I'm getting a little bit of earache about it. So before winter sets in properly, we'll just get a bit of gear on it. And it goes painted up in the spring. Right, so we leave that again now for quite a while. Alright, well, it's several hours later, and it's just about ready for the next phase, which is a bit of a flat off with your trowel. There's still quite a bit of water in it. It's taking its time setting today. Right, so as you can see, it's fairly smooth now. We've got rid of most of the imperfections out of it. Then we get our sponge, we just gently, kind of like a figure eight, on it, like so. And what that will do is, one, it'll open up the surface, which is what you want, and two, it'll get rid of any little trowel marks, etc. that are remaining. It's still slightly too wet, but I'm not that bothered, to be honest. It's a bit of a wall retaining a strawberry bed, so not like it's the back of the house that we did recently, is it? We're running out of time, so just give it a quick sponge up, just take out any little marks, and then when it's painted, it'll look fine. There we go. You can see all the little marks now starting to go. Still very wet at the bottom though, that piece. I think what the problem is, these retaining walls obviously are wet. They've been kind of here for well over a year now, so they've plenty of water in them. Although they are concrete blocks, so. Oh, excuse me. Right. So while you've been sat there watching, I was busy doing the rest of the walls there. So I think what we'll do now is give these a bit of a do with the sponge. Of course, these all get painted when we paint the back of the house in the spring. I'll give them the winter to cure. So that when they are painted, any moisture left in there won't push the paint off. Or there won't be any moisture left in there, it'll cured. And these will look super when they're painted. Nice and bright. But again, just using your sponge just to get rid of any little imperfections and marks that are left in it. Like I say, you know, if it was a back of a building or something, I'd be a bit more precise with what I was doing here. These are just little garden walls. Not too bothered about the odd mark. Although they are coming up alright. I suppose you're wondering why the first one I've done over there is a browny colour. Well, it's simple. I had some white cement left over in a bucket with earth pigment in from the project of doing the garden wall the other day. And instead of wasting it, I've just chucked it in with the render mix. It's like I say, these are going to get painted anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it's a different colour here and there. You can get away with it at home. Obviously, if it's for a client, they'll look to the same colour, even if it were being painted. Now, the reason we've got these little walls here is because we were, the other side of them, growing some veggies and things. Although we've decided next year not to grow veggies, just want some flowery plants in it. But it was to keep the dogs out initially. And it's worked quite well. It's obviously they can't open the gate and go in. But at the end of the plot, we're going to build a little patio area with a bit of a pagoda type thing. A lady can can sit there reading a book in the summer without being in the sun. As you can see there, we're doing this with a figure eight. Open the gate. Yeah, we're doing it with a figure eight to achieve what we're trying to do, which is basically open that render up, or the face of the render, get rid of the little marks that remain. I suppose in some respects it's like doing a fine float, if you see my meaning there. A little bit wet at the bottom there still. Well, this one, I'm nearly there. It's riding at different rates as this. So, problem when you're going on to the scratch coat that's been on for a year or so. I generally like to go on them either the day after or a couple of days after. Well, we've still got a bit of dampness in them, but yeah, it didn't do last year. The other reason I want to try and get this done is because I want to have my COVID booster and flu vaccine this morning, and slowly starting to make me feel a little bit groggy. I want to get this done, and then I can get showered, changed, and chill in front of the TV watching something good on YouTube. Preferably not myself. Right, so that's basically the step-by-step guide for cement render. Nothing hard about it. You know, if you can handle a trowel for putting on plaster, I'm sure you can get sand cement render on. I know a lot of the younger generation that are out now that excellent at skimming and dabbing and things, but they're absolutely useless when it comes to rendering. And it's purely because they're not taught when they're serving the time, which is a shame. And a lot, of course, they don't bother with it because they're either doing the spray renders or they're doing the K-rend. There's quite an art to working with a cement mortar. You know, once you've got used to using it, you know what it wants, when it wants it, etc., and how to form your shapes. You know, it's not that hard. Right, just that other end. Once it's dried in a bit, and I'm there. A little bit at the bottom there, look. That we missed there. Let's get that in there. That's still a bit wet yet, really. And the top of it's gone, but bottom end's still a little bit soggy. I don't know whether I'll get away with that or not. I'll check it out in a bit. Wipe off my gate. I made the mistake of painting the gate the other week. Now I've got render all over the edge of it. So I'll have to touch that up. But not today. Okay, close the gate and the dog doesn't get in there and dig holes. I think it's a favourite hobby, that, at the minute. Digging the garden up. Of course, when you're forming your corners, as I've demonstrated on past videos, you can do without a bead, what we call a Harris corner, which you use straight edges for, and it's exactly the same as when I do the stone refacing. You know, put a straight edge on and work to it. So it's the same with the Harris. There you go, all done. And I put a bit of stuff on the top, but what I'm going to do eventually here, I'm going to cut some stone and do it with stone copings. Same over the other side there. But that's it. That's Saturday over. They look better. They're not brilliant, but they look better. And it shall keep the lady happy. So this week I've done that wall there, as we saw in this week's video, which is now looking lovely. Now it's drying out with a little bit of stone carving going on there. Right, well we'll get off now and leave you to weekend. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bonnie the dog certainly enjoyed it, and the other dog somewhere, I don't know where she is, she's about. Yeah, so if you did enjoy it and you found it informative, give us that big thumbs up, because we really need them for the logarithms. And thanks for watching. Oh, and don't forget, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. You know, you can always share this video as well with your friends. You know, just a thought. Right, we'll see you in next week's video, which is going to be doing some Victorian stonework. See you later.